Here's a disclaimer so my video won't get blocked. Hey guys, welcome to my review on Spongebob Season 4. Now, I've been talking about this, and on Instagram, you guys told me I should review Spongebob Season 4. And after this review on the whole season, I will do the second requested, then third, then fourth. Thank you all for watching, and make sure you leave a like. Mostly this is my opinion, and if you get mad, that's okay. And if you agree, that's also okay. So have fun watching, have a good day, and have fun on this review. Let's start things off with Fear of a Krabby Patty, the first episode of post-movie SpongeBob. For me, this episode felt like a pre-movie SpongeBob episode. The jokes are awesome, everybody felt in character, and everything else was alright. So, and if I have one gripe of this episode, some of the things looked a little ugly. Just like the, staying up all late scene. I'll show you.
1,320.
Day 23! Give it up for day
6,650.
Day 30!
That's why I'm giving it a 9.5 out of 10 for being really cool and a nice episode for the season. And next up, we have Shell of a Man. This episode is about Mr. Krabs showing SpongeBob all his personal stuff at the Navy, and then he cracks open his shell and tells SpongeBob he has to do it for him. My thoughts on the episode? Well, it's not as good as Fear of a Krabby Patty, but it's pretty good. So, I'm just gonna give it a 9 out of 10. It's 2 good episodes in a row. Wow, 2 good episodes in a row, especially for post-movie SpongeBob. That is absolutely crazy. Next up, we have The Lost. Thought about this episode. Guys, chill. Alright, guys, chill. Alright, we're gonna stop. Now I got your attention. Let's talk about the episode. This episode is about where SpongeBob and Patrick and Squidward go to get Mr. Krabs' mattress. Now, one plot hole. Don't Mr. Krabs go on a Hamlet? I mean, you don't have to go on a mattress, right? And also, there were some things that makes no sense, like the next scene and all the scenes. But there are also a couple moments, like the mattress meme and Mr. Krabs' rage. But overall, this is a good episode. Wow, 3 episodes in a row. I guess post-movie SpongeBob isn't bad after all. Now we move on to Krabs versus Plankton. The episode starts off with Plankton getting up. And now, this is actually the first episode where it actually has something to do with Core. And that's really good. Especially for post-movie. Even though I said that a million times, sorry. Anyway, this is a short explanation. And let's move on to final thoughts. This is like a pre-movie season so far. Even though later on it's not going to be like it, but it's still good. But I like this episode, but it's not as good as the rest. I'm just going to go give it an 8 out of 10. Even though it may fall to the simple plot category, it has its good and funny moments. So yeah, this isn't an against of an episode. Next up, we have you seen the snail? Legendary. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Now let's review this episode. This episode goes ahead and starts off with SpongeBob ordering a paddleball system and forgets his snail food for Gary. While he forgets, he tries it out and forgets how to feed Gary, resulting Gary to leave. SpongeBob forgets about this, and a couple of weeks later, they realize that the Gary is missing. SpongeBob freaks out about this and gives us one of the most iconic Squidward moments. Here's a clip. It never gets old, and it can cheer you up when you are in depression. Now, let's see final thoughts. To me, this was my favorite season 4 episode of this season so far. No, really, it is. After all these episodes, this is my favorite. No matter how much you people say. I mean, look at the quality, the jokes, and look how emotional I actually gotten. And the special just brings it up. So, for this episode, I'm giving it an 11 out of 10. For being really good and really well thought of. Wow. Have you ever seen a good episode in Pulse Movie? Right, next we got The Crane. This episode is all about where Mr. Krabs buys a crane and then Squidward becomes obsessed with it as he plays. This episode is nice like the other ones. And if I had main gripe for the episode, it had to be the ending. People didn't have to beat him up. So this gets a 9 out of 10. Wow, I guess this might be good. But not good for Squidward though. Next up, we're gonna have... Okay, now you guys are gonna hate me when you hear my opinions on this episode. This episode is all about where SpongeBob wakes him up early in the morning. As usual. Squidward tries to have a good Sunday, which is pretty nice actually. But then we see SpongeBob and Patrick screw it up as they do as usual. And then Squidward orders a security camera, and then some person just comes over to their house and then tells them he has to go to community service for the rest of every Sunday, as well as SpongeBob and Patrick. Now let's see my thoughts. Well, this is actually a mixed episode for me. And some people hate it, some people like it because it's charming. People hate it because it's school torture. But I find it charming. And you guys might be triggered. So I think the best I could give it, or the worst I can give it, the best I could give it was like a 8 out of 10. But the worst I could give it is a 6.8 out of 10. For being an okay episode for you guys. For the next episode, we got Selling Out, and we're back on track, guys, because it's a good episode. This episode is about the Krusty Krab getting visited by businessmen, and then Mr. Krabs gets signed because he has to get all that money to sell the Krusty Krab, and then he sells the Krusty Krab, which is out of character for him, and then we meet a new character called Carl, which calls it the Krabby Old Mondays and uniforms and all that stuff. One main gripe. This episode is a little bit teeny out of character for Krabs. I mean, why would he sell this restaurant? Don't he like his restaurant? Well, this is a good episode. 8.5 out of 10. Wow. I guess Mr. Krabs may be out of character, but this episode still holds up, bro. Last up, we got Funny Pants, and for some reason, it's hated. No, really, I don't know what the reason is. It's hated. Pie Guy Rules called it a Scumbob episode for some weird reason. But let's find out in this video. This episode is all about SpongeBob telling Squidward a very bad joke. And then he laughs it through all day of work. Don't believe me? Well, just look at this, but this will be speed up. It gets very old, very quick, very fast. The next day shows SpongeBob's left side is hurting. And then Squidward fakes it that he had laugh box is going to be hurt. And then SpongeBob avoids every possible way to stop laughing. And then the ending, Squidward starts to lose his laugh box. And then SpongeBob trades it in and laughs like SpongeBob and goes crazy, and the episode ends. In the end, this episode is good, not great. It had its moments like the banana peel and the whoopee cushions and the pie, but it just was a little too annoying. But the highest I could give it is a 7 out of 10. It's a okay, but when it comes to funny. I reviewed part 1 of SpongeBob Season 4. Now, it wasn't really good. It was really long. And now, since I have to do all this, stay tuned for part 2 because it's gonna be a long one as well. So, have a good day. Ding dong, I am gone.